that the EU is enjoying, and also the partnership that we are enjoying as a result of the EU being in Ghana and working closely with us. And so the 9th of May is when we actually mark EU Day. And we're going to be talking about all that, of course, to find out exactly what the plans are for this year. And we actually have in the studios Peter Smith van Gelder. Okay, so he's the Deputy Head of Delegation, Head of Political Press and Information Section of the European Union. And he joins us in the studio. It's a saying, Viviaboko.
Aquava.
I was hoping you would get that right.
It's a saying.
It's a saying.
Oh, okay. My colleague didn't teach me.
Oh, he didn't teach you that.
But you've
Colleague,
been
you are
here
in
since
trouble. You are in trouble.
2019, yeah.
So how come you cannot say anything in Tree?
It's
Oh,
very...
he said Aquaba.
That's all he...
Trust me, there's something that he said as well. So what's your favorite food again?
Yeah, so I like
Kelewele.
kelewele
Yes,
quite a lot,
kelewele.
and I like garifoto as well, and I like jollof rice.
Oh, you like jollof as
of
well.
Of course, better here than in the neighboring
High
country.
five, high five, high five. Good to have you in the studios, by the way. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Everything okay?
Thanks for pronouncing my name correctly.
Oh, you got
I
it
know
right.
it's difficult with European names.
Yeah.
No, but I've been fine. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
been 4 years here and 10 years in Africa. So
Unbelievable. And last year you celebrated 65 years of the partnership between the EU
That's correct.
and Ghana. This year will be the 66th.
That's also correct.
Tell us a bit about that. What exactly is EU Day in Ghana?
Okay, so we celebrate, in fact, European Union, coming together. We started with 6 countries, the Benelux, so Netherlands, where I'm from originally, and then Belgium and Luxembourg, and of course Germany, France, Italy, the 6. It started with a guy named Robert Schuman. So it's a German name, but he was the French Minister of Foreign Affairs. And after all those years of fighting, particularly between France and Germany, he said, let's do it differently. After the First World War, Second World War, after all this fighting, let's pull together coal and steel. And why coal and steel? Because if you have those, he thought, the countries will not fight each other anymore. And in fact, it worked out for 65 years, 66 years here in Ghana, working together very well. And now in Europe, we have 27 member states. Here in Ghana, 9 member states active. And we have been privileged to work with Ghana. The partnership is very good. It's getting every day better, I would say. So it's on the global level. Ghana is in the UN Security Council, of course. Then on the regional level, with President Akufo-Addo being at the helm of ECOWAS for the past 2 years, just passed. And then also the continental level with the African Free Trade Agreement, of course, with the headquarters here in Accra. Now, what we do specifically, we do 3 things in the coming years. We just signed the partnership. Our Commissioner for Partnerships came, Jutta Urpilainen, a Finnish lady. She signed it with the Minister of Finance, and we focus on 3 things. So the first is the green growth and the Green Deal, very important to Europe, but in fact to the whole world, also to Ghana. Everybody signed the Paris Agreement back then. And the second would be sustainable cities. Most of the people nowadays live in cities. And here in Ghana, of course, you have the metropolis of Accra and of Kumasi and others. So what we want to find is sustainable solutions for all those people working together, living together in these big agglomerations. And the third is everything surrounded on security, good governance. We had a big conference with His Excellency the President, other presidents from other neighboring countries coming, from Togo, from Benin, Prime Minister of Côte d'Ivoire and others, and our President of the European Council, his name is Charles Michel, on the Accra Initiative, which is basically an initiative to make sure the coastal countries are safe. We know a lot of trouble going on in the Sahel, so what we call the Sahel spill to counter the problems from there. So basically we are working on these strands, and we are very happy to work with the Ghanaians, because I think we have a very cordial and nice relationship, and we generally like to be here, and I hope it is the same way for the Ghanaians to have us Europeans.
Definitely.
It is the same way for us. That's why we're excited when you came on board to help us finally set up a vaccine center here in Ghana. Congratulations on that one. And on behalf of the whole country, thank you very much. But what does that mean to you? It's been one of your aims to be able to help us facilitate that. Now we can produce our own vaccines. What does it mean to you?
It's been very important to us from the beginning. You know, when the COVID hit, it hit everybody, poor, rich, old, young, of course, all the countries. I was here when it started. Ghana was the first country to benefit from what we call COVAX.
Right.
So that was in February 2021 that all those vaccines came by EU and UNICEF and other partners. And since my ambassador came here, His Excellency Ershad Rasadi also said, look, it's very good to give vaccines, but it's even better if the countries can produce them themselves, right? So this is quite unique. We're supporting with quite a significant amount of money. And it actually started a couple of weeks ago, at least the thought, you know, with the president and my ambassador. And this means Ghana will be able to produce vaccines, not only for Ghana, not only for the region, but hopefully for the whole continent. So we're supporting also the FDA with the maturing and with the standard setting. And in a way, it's, you know, for the health, of course, to be independent, autonomous to produce it, but it's also job creation, and that's a very important issue for us as well. You know, we have many youngsters here in the country, many need a job, and you know, we see it also as our duty to help to create those jobs. We cannot do everything, of course, but it can be at least a beginning.
Congratulations on that one.
I like how you talked about youth and skills development, because that's also something very key that the EU you know, is working in partnership with Ghana for. Tell us a bit more about that and how, beyond even creating jobs for young people with this vaccine supports that we've gotten, what other ways are we supporting the youth to develop their skills?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because actually the theme of this year for Europe is youth and skills. So indeed, Ghana has quite a young population, like many other African countries, younger than us in Europe. We're a bit old, you see, a bit grey. And here in Ghana, it is, you know, our focus. Our focus is on the north, which is the poor departments of the country, and on youngsters, youth. So I'll give you 3 examples. The first one, we work with Victoria Michaels. She's a famous entrepreneur, you know her, and I could say also a friend. So she is now our Goodwill EU ambassador for, you know, youth and for skills and for also the green. So we started that earlier this year with an official event in the residence of our ambassador. We work very closely with her, you know, to connect youth to, she's, you know, our free of charge, our face for the whole EU. And we're very happy and privileged that she wants to do it. So a model and an entrepreneur and, you know, really an example to many. And then the second is what we call Erasmus Plus. Erasmus was a philosopher from my own country, it was from Rotterdam, a real European before the whole EU existed, because, you know, he lived in Holland, but then also in Italy, in Switzerland, went to England and all that, spoke many languages. And he gave his name to this program. It's a scholarship program, and it allows Ghanaians to go to Europe. So excellent students from Ghana studying in excellent universities in Europe. So that's also a way to help youngsters, and of course, you know, on the culture, and we get to that probably, a way to work together on cultural issues. And then the last example in this respect maybe, so we work together with Germany, which is one of our big member states here, on a center for youth to make sure there is more jobs, they have more skills and more education. And there we particularly focus on migrations and also on returning migrants and, you know, to create jobs here in the country.
Migrations, I like that you touched on that, because there are a lot of young people as well who keep saying that they would rather travel outside of Ghana to go live in some of these countries, because for them, that is where prosperity comes. I'm sure you've gotten a lot of young people who have also reached out to the EU trying to cross over to live in other countries. Usually, what do you say to them with regards to wanting to create jobs so that they move back to Ghana?
Look, it's very difficult to say in general what one person should or should not do. In a way, I'm also a migrant, or, you know, at least I don't live in the country, you know, let's face it. In my home city, I'm from Amsterdam, there is one neighborhood where there are many Ghanaians, and, you know, you can have, you can eat kelewele and jollof.
Oh, so you started eating the kelewele before you got here.
Exactly. Even, you know, I went to school in downtown Amsterdam, there were Ghanaian kids in my class. So migration, you know, it is not, it's a neutral thing. something. It's logical people migrate. Now there are legal ways of migration. It's very good. You have the exchange, you have the culture. What we, sort of not advise to people or discourage is just, go there because, let's be honest, it can be difficult just going there. Well, you should not go illegally, of course, but also, there's not jobs for everybody, so people might have some picture in their head, and of course it's logical to dream, but, if you just get there without any support, it can be a very tough world out there. And that is why also, of course, we see it as one of our issues to help create jobs here. Because in that way, people can see their future also in Ghana itself.
Yeah, definitely.
I see. Anyway, so history tells us, even before we get to the activities for the celebration, history tells us that our relationship with the European Union started way back in 1975, of course, from the first Lomé Convention. But tell us, where did all of this start from, and where are we now in terms of our relationship with you, with the European Union?
Yeah, you studied the history well indeed.
Yes, I did.
Lomé, and then it was Cotonou. So there were several agreements, basically between the EU or the communities which preceded the EU, and then Ghana and other countries in Africa. In a way, it was also still a commission then, so we focused much more on what we call development aid and cooperation. With the years, it evolved. Of course, Ghana changed, the EU changed. We changed our name into EU. Now we have 27 countries, and also we have now what we call, the ambassador and the delegation. So we also focus on political relations. So what we do, among other things, is a political dialogue, a political relationship. It's very important to us to talk to the civil society on the several branches of work we do, governance, also agriculture in the north, and we work on fisheries, we work on maritime security with the 9 member states present here. So I would really say the relationship is really broad. The development cooperation envelope is about 200 million euro for the coming years. So with that, we're also a sizable partner. And, I can say the president has been to Europe many times. He has been to Brussels, but also he gave a big address to the parliament in Strasbourg, to the capitals. He's been to Madrid, to Paris, to Berlin, to The Hague, and vice versa. We had, as I mentioned, the President of the European Council, Charles Michel, coming. We had Commissioner Urpilainen coming. So all that is a testimony to the fact that we have a good relation. And I think if you look at today's world, well, I lived in Sudan. I'm looking with a lot of horror at what's happening there. We're very privileged to live in a country safe, stable, with human rights, with rule of law, with liberties, like Ghana, and also not has been always like that. That is why we have a very close and privileged relationship between EU and Ghana, and we really hope it stays that way, and we're confident it stays that way, and it will even grow better and stronger.
I see you have so much love for Ghana. You've been in Chad, you've been in Sudan, and other parts of Africa. What is the one thing that you love about Ghana?
Well, first of all, the people, the women.
Okay. No, so hold on. The women. What about the women?
No. It's I think very friendly people, and I don't want to say anything negative about.
No, of course it will be positive.
I've seen in I've been in many other countries, so I don't want to say Ghanaians and that other country, those people are not. No, but generally friendly country. One can say, relax. Right. I rarely see people really get worked up or aggressive or so.
We are always happy.
Always happy. The sun always shines.
Right.
So that I like. And I have 2 kids here, young kids. Or when we started, they were young. Of course, they grow up logically. So we like to go, in the country. We've been to with them to Mole Park, to Tamale, to Volta region,
to Kakum as well.
Kakum, Cape Coast. Yeah. So that's. They are a bit Ghanaian in a way. Yeah, hopefully they can speak Swedish.
How old are they?
They are now 8 and 10 years old.
So, okay, so they were not born in Ghana, were they? No, you brought them?
No, one was born in Costa Rica and the other in Sudan. Yeah.
I see. In Sudan?
Yeah, so all around the world.
She's African, he or she is African. Completely African. I see. Fantastic.
Let's talk about EU Day, and of course, what the plans are
just 6
for
days
that
away.
particular day. What exactly should we look out for?
So what we plan, we call it Europe Day, but in fact Europe Week and also Europe Month. There will be, the ceremony and the reception and all that. We will focus a lot on culture because we think culture, it's a two-way street. It's, of course, culture in and of itself. It is the, bridges between the different peoples, a way to express oneself, a way to develop. But it's also, let's face it, the business part. If there is tourism, if there is job creation, that is very good too. So we work with the Ministry of Tourism on their strategy. We have worked with the Literature Festival, PEJA, and with UNESCO also, because Accra is the world capital of books, as you may know. Then we will work with youngsters, and we will go to Tamale and work with Ibrahim Mahama, who has the Red Clay studio there, as you know, and he's also a good friend. He has had the Prince Claus Award. And then here in Jamestown, here in Accra, we will do a movie screening from a shortlisted Ghanaian filmmaker for the Cannes Festival, and then we have a discussion on, the Ghana film industry, because we had EU film festivals here as well. And then, as I said before, one of our priorities is youngsters and women. So we go to Takoradi, and we go to, in the neighborhood of Takoradi, also for young people and young women who have, for instance, sustainable mango and other issues we want to support in, again, the job creation, which is, a key feature of us.
So, so arts then is a very key thing for EU month for you, because we talk about Red Clay, we talk about the movies that have been shortlisted, for Cannes and all that. That means that that's also a very key aspect of what you're doing. If you look at the arts terrain within the country, are we doing a good job, or is there more room for improvement?
Look, there is always room for improvement. I myself, I like to read. My father worked in a bookshop, and so I'm very happy it's the Accra, the world capital of books.
How many books have you read, by the way,
in
your life?
In my life, that's... Nobody ever asked me that question. But
you haven't even counted.
Let's see, I read one book per week or so. And then, should I say my age also?
Yeah, so we're going to calculate 52 by your age, but carry on, yes, you were saying.
And then, so indeed, there are many opportunities here, many tourists going. When I arrived, it was the year of the return.
Yes.
Then there was, of course, beyond the return. So I, honestly and sincerely think that is a very good way of, promoting Ghanaian culture. The forts and castles, UNESCO is working on it. We are working on it. The ministry is working on it. But there is more to do to promote book reading, for instance, to promote more museums. The Tamale, the museum, the Red Clay in Ibrahim Mahama is super. It is. In the end, it's a private initiative. There could be more museums elsewhere, and in every country, I guess there we could improve. But that's indeed exactly the reason why we want to, be a partner with Ghana on this particular
music
issue.
Though you didn't say. Are you listening to any Ghanaian songs at the moment?
I go once in a while to 233.
Okay. So you enjoy live band.
I like the live band there. I see their friends, and. Other than that, we are very close to Afrikiko, so we go there on the Wednesday because I like the Afrobeat.
Oh, today is Wednesday. Is today Wednesday?
Yes, actually today is Wednesday.
So are you going this evening?
Yeah, we'll see each other there.
We'll see each other.
We have to see you dance then.
That's
we want to see what you're
like. to be there this evening.
We want to see what you're like when you're dancing as well. So we're going to play some Ghanaian music.
Don't get your hopes up.
Oh, you're not able to do any of the African dances, are you?
It's sort of line dancing, so it's easy. So you basically follow the steps.
Oh, okay. We'll follow Cookie today.
Exactly. So who's your favorite Ghanaian artist? Music.
That is. I want to say, but I don't even think they have an official name. But they are my friends, and they play in the 233 bar on the Tuesday evening. So there's a jazz band.
So it's a band?
It's a band.
Oh, it's a band.
Yeah.
So you find them where? Plus 2 to 3 on Tuesdays?
On Tuesday.
I need to find out who they are then. I need to find out who they are.
It's Bernard and Victor.
I see.
Okay.
Anyway.
We need to dance. Producers, please give us music.